What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. We're back at Insurance Auto Auctions here in Oklahoma City for another car preview in an upcoming auction. And this one's going to be a little rough, so viewer discretion is advised. This car is in really bad shape, and I know you're probably thinking this is just for content. It's not. I'm actually considering hitting the buy it now button on this car right now. So this is what's left of a 1991 Foxbody Mustang GT convertible that was involved in a, let's just call it a significant collision. It is biohazard. There's not much left. And when I first saw it, I thought, no, there's nothing left that I could use out of this car. But I think there is. I mean, I know looking at it, it doesn't look like there's anything left that you could utilize off this car, but you'd be surprised if you take the time to really look it over. You might actually find a few good parts left that you could use. Number one, and again, I don't know for sure how much is still good. Everything is just kind of thrown in here. But there's a wheel and a tire. The tire still has air. If that tire is good, we have a complete set of wheels. They're 5-star American Muscle wheels. You know, they're nothing to write home about, but they're American Muscle wheels. And the tires are Street Comp by Mickey Thompson. No way. That tire is flat and probably completely done. But still, you might possibly, and there's a big risk there. The wheels might all four still be in usable shape. This turn signal light, these things are not cheap. That one looks like it's still in good usable shape. This is the side that wheel came off of, and as you can see, the axle completely snapped. Now, some of the things I'm noticing is, looks like somebody put new shocks. They've got springs. You've got one of your lateral arms there, and then you got Bilstein. What do they call these? They're shock absorbers, but they help prevent wheel hop. I can't remember the name of these. They go on each side to the axle, but I can't remember what they're called. Now, obviously, you know, this tire is going to be shot as well. Yeah, this tire is shot. But again, the wheel could potentially be okay. You might have 4 good wheels and 2 good tires. Maybe. That's a big maybe. So I wouldn't buy it based on that alone. But one other thing I noticed is, I mean, they cut the top off. The doors had to be peeled off of it. You got to be very careful messing around here. The seat definitely took some damage. The frame is going to be bad on this particular seat right here is broken. But the leather, aside from some cracks and some fading, it's honestly not horrible. I mean, guys, look at this. The dashboard is literally bent in half. All right. But, you know, who's really interested in seats? Well, I am, because there's the potential to sell both seats. All I got to do is find another frame and swap that out with this. Both seats, back seats, are probably the same beautiful white leather. This car has a lot of potential not to ever be repaired again, and there's really not much left looking at it that's worth anything to the average person. You're probably looking at it thinking I'm absolutely insane for considering it. Obviously, the suspension is, well, there is nothing left, let's be honest. But what I want from this car is actually under the hood. And when I first walked up on it, I'll be completely honest with you, I thought, you know what, the motor and trans they're gone. You know, this thing is a twisted, mangled mess. There's no way anything survived. Well, let me lift up this hood. Hold on. I don't want to cut myself because this is all a very, very mangled mess. Take a look down here, guys. What do you see? We have what looks like a good motor. And I already checked the oil. The dipstick is right there. I checked it. The transmission. The engine still has oil in it, guys. And if you look down at the accessories, it looks like everything is still intact. It even still has the factory smog pump down there. I mean, this is about as stock as you can get. I think even the headers are factory. can't hardly tell from where I'm standing, but I'm like 99% certain this is 100% stock. You know, I don't know what the miles are on it, not a clue, but what I do know is I could use a motor like this, if nothing else, just a backup, a spare engine. Looks like somebody recently replaced whatever that sensor is right there. I'm thinking that may be like a map sensor. And you can see a dipstick over here. That right there is for an automatic transmission, which, you know, I don't need an automatic. That's not really anything I'm interested in. But what you're looking at under the hood, that would be my whole reason for buying this car. And removing it, I can only imagine how much fun that would be. I would almost want to just cut as much of the front end off of this car as I could, just to get to what's left of the motor and the transmission. You know, this seat is probably bent too. I'm surprised that we don't see, you know, any bodily fluids in here, and I'm honestly very thankful that we don't see any of that, because that to me tells me hopefully the people that were in it, you know, they made it. I really hope the people that were in this made it and they are okay today. Man, look where the door was just literally ripped out. There's very few salvageable parts here. The instrument cluster can't see it. Airbag deployed, which means it was moving when this accident happened. The gauge cluster, assuming it's still good, those gauge clusters, which I assume it's got the 140, 150 mile an hour speedometer, those gauge clusters good, sell on eBay for $400 to $500. Ask me how I know. I just spent $390 buying one. There's also some little exhaust parts underneath that may or may not still be usable on this car. Everything else though, yeah, I mean, there's not a straight panel. The bumper is not usable. You get a tail light. And I think I saw a corner light that may be usable, maybe potentially 4 wheels. And you might have a set of seats that are going to need, I guarantee you both seats are probably going to need new frames. You know, the backrests and the seat bottoms are probably still good, but I mean, how many people are going to want to buy seats and then have to turn around and, you know, put new frames on them? It's just, it's a mangled mess. It's got a cold air intake. I don't know, maybe there's something left of it to use. I don't really know, man. It's really a mangled mess. It still has the EGR valve. It still has your original hard lines. Those things are usually broken and missing. It looks like the fuel injectors are factory. And I can't believe it still has all of the smog equipment. Like, that's absolutely insane. Normally, that's the first thing to go. Yeah, it looks like you could probably still use the cold air intake. Mass airflow sensor, it might be usable too. You know, who knows how many miles are on it, but if you needed a backup engine, and like I said, see, corner light might still be good. Might be able to unbolt that and sell the corner light. There's a Ford emblem. Might be able to sell the Ford emblem too. What I'm trying to say is that basically there's really nothing left of this car other than the motor and the transmission. And I don't have any use for an automatic transmission, but it wouldn't hurt to have a spare 5.0 just sitting around just in case. Not only that, but you have the 5.0 engine, and if you can get to the computer, it would be somewhere over there. And here's why I'm thinking this would be a good idea. Number one, I think it would be interesting content cleaning all of this out. We clean all the car out and see what we can salvage. What parts are salvageable? Even if it's something like a radio. I see a double-din stereo. It might still be good in there. Probably a touch screen. I see the heat and air conditioning controls are still good. There's some vents. There's some random switches. Maybe the instrument cluster. The wheels, it'd be nice to see if these wheels came out okay. We could put a couple tires on them, and you got a set of wheels as well. The 5.0 engine, I think it'd be a lot of fun trying to get it out of the car, the engine and the transmission, and I'd probably just set it in the back of my shop. I don't think there's any possible way to get this car started as it is. I mean, we could put a battery to it, assuming the keys are in it, and I'm not touching that glass. I'm not touching that glass, but you know, assuming the fuel tank isn't ruptured, and we could potentially maybe get it started in the car. But my theory is the car was, it was in a bad wreck. Let's just leave it there. I'm not going to give you my theory. You know, the car could have been going fast. It could have been somebody else going fast and ran into them. I don't know. It's not worth speculating. I just hope that everybody in the car is okay. Sincerely, I hope whoever's car this is, I hope you and everybody else is okay. But for me, I'm looking at the engine, the transmission. I really don't have any use for because it's an automatic, but I guess it never hurts to have a spare transmission laying around. You never know when you're going to have a project car that needs it. I could get the computer out of it, the motor, the transmission, and I've got something for a future build maybe. Or if I just want one of my Mustangs to be stock again, well, I delete on the smog pump. But aside from that, you get what I'm saying. It never hurts to have a motor and a transmission laying around, and whatever else is still good in this car. Maybe there's some money laying here. $900, buy it now. You tell me. I honestly don't know, but I know that if you look around on eBay for this motor is going to run you at least $1,500 to $2,000, at least, I mean bare minimum, $1,500 to $2,000, and I've seen them all the way up to about $2,500, sometimes $3,000. I think that's stretching it, but you know, $2,000 is probably realistically what you're looking at for a good motor. I can get this whole car for $900, and I'd be willing to bet if we sold off some of the parts, we could probably get most of that $900 back. I can almost guarantee you, if I buy this car, my fiance is gonna have an aneurysm. Like, genuinely, she won't understand. She's gonna look at this car and be like, why? You know, even I'm standing here looking at it going, the man in me is saying, $900 for a Foxbody all day long. The car was obviously running. It was running and driving. And it's got those Mickey Thompson tires, those aren't cheap, guys. Somebody put some money into the car. They left it relatively stock, other than I'm sure the exhaust has got some nice little mods to it that may or may not be any good, but the guy in me is like, man, it's a Foxbody convertible GT. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Now, it has a certificate of destruction from Florida. Why it's from Florida, I don't know. Maybe the people were from Florida. All I know is it has a certificate of destruction, meaning the car is no good ever to anyone other than parts. And that's all I want off of it. I want some parts, and then I want to send the rest of it to the scrapyard. Call up a junkyard or a junker, tell them, come get it. You know, and I'll bet even after the motor and trans is gone, I bet we still get $100. I bet a scrapyard would still give us $100 for what's left of the metal. So there's $100 of your money back. If you decide to sell the wheels and tires, put a couple tires on them, and if the wheels are good, that changes everything, because you're literally looking at probably, I'll have to look on American Muscle's website, I'll bet you could get, with new tires and 4 rims, at least $500 to $600. At least $500 to $600 out of those. All I need is a few components out from under it just to keep for myself. But at the same time, I'm also looking at it thinking this is a twisted mess of metal. It's mangled. The chances of getting hurt are very, very high on something like this. And how am I going to get the powertrain out of this car? I don't think I could even get this on my lift, guys. I really, that's the problem. I don't think this is something I want to drag into the shop, which means I'm gonna be pulling a motor and transmission from a totally wrecked car in my driveway. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun either. But I want you guys to do me a favor, comment below and tell me what you think. I'm really torn on this. I really want it. Like, I really, really want it. I'd love to see. It's something different for the channel. We've never done anything like this. Could we buy a completely destroyed car and salvage enough parts to get our money back and still keep the parts that we want? Maybe. And for $900, it sounds like a video worth doing. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Drop those comments down below and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Until next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.